Welcome to Advanced Cast Iron Seasoning.
All right, I got a little pan here I've had for several years. It's a wrought-iron or carbon steel, if you will, just a little heavier than a carbon steel. It's something that's in between, say, a carbon steel and a cast iron. Say, like a your typical lodge. The main difference here is that instead of pouring it into a mold, they take and they'll puddle it, fold it, and then roll it, fold it, roll it, fold it, and they do that, make it malleable so they can then stamp out the shape and then forge it into the shape and have a one single piece, one handle, just like cast iron. Other than it, and as you can see, it's got the same con as far as rust goes, other than this won't break, crap, or chip. I could drive a 16 penny nail through a 2x4 with this guy and it won't hurt it. But we have a rusting issue, and a problem with this wrought iron is that it's smooth. Since they roll it and work it, it's a smooth finish. It doesn't have the pour and cast like the sand from the mold does with cast, which really helps the seasoning bite in and hold. I mean, Lodge's got that down. They make these things impervious to rust if you just do the normal care. This, simply as I got sick and haven't used it in a while, and so it sat for about 6 months and started rusting on me, just because I live in, say, the New Orleans metro area, which is always, humidity is always up in the 90s. And if you don't use this thing on at least once a week or maybe once every other week, then it's going to rust on you. And it's really annoying. I've already redone this. I'm going to redo it again. This is going to be like the 5th time doing it. This time I'm going to go ahead and take it all the way back down. I got a little countertop sandblasting box. I'm going to just blast this whole thing and start over with it. Only this go round, we're going to get it all blasted down. And of course, I got some I got 2 different mediums. One to get it all blasted clean, then I got little glass bead to do a peen finish on the inside to give it a better chance to really hold on to here. It's not going to do much, just a little light peen finish to get something to hold on to. And then I'm going to go ahead and rust it evenly. And so once it's got a nice even layer of orange rust, the hematite, then we're going to use a combination of the phosphoric acid and tannic acid in order to change the orange rust, the hematite, into the black rust referred to as magnetite or old school bluing, which is food safe. Then build our seasoning coat on top of that.
Black iron oxide is a chemical compound formulated Fe3O4. Remember that, Fe3O4. It occurs in nature as a mineral magnetite. Alrighty, in a nutshell, it was a video by Noah Bristol. He's bluing and seasoning his cast iron, and it was his video that piqued my whole interest on this magnetite. So I started doing a little research, just figure out what I'd be dealing with, and so you put in, you look up, magnetite, black oxide. Black iron oxide is a chemical compound found in Fe3O4. Well, that hit me automatically. I recognize that number. It occurs in nature as a mineral magnetite. Okay, well, the Fe3O4, I've already heard and seen, oh, God, it's probably been, I ran across a scientific study, same way, through other research. Somebody else had found it and turned me on to it and read it. Well, it's about seasoning Chinese cooking pans, woks, that there's this whole cult out there of chefs that are trying to do what they've been doing in China for a long time, for years, and cooking a couple dishes that no one can seem to do them and reproduce exactly. Kung Po chicken. They can't seem to reproduce exactly how the Chinese are doing it, and they're finding out it's the wok. It's this oleophilic, hydrophobic surface that they're creating on the wok that helps cook and give these foods these flavors. So they have this. Here it is. The site. Here's the study. It's Scientific Direct, a scientific site where they've done this study, and the highlights. They tell you the hydrophobic surface produced by the repeated oil coating and heating in a pan seasoning process. Reversible insertion, extraction of oxygen atoms split the surface and gradually create Fe3O4 nanoballs. So they're taking the black oxide, iron oxide, and with adding a few things to it, they're creating what they're calling nanoballs. And this is what I've been trying to produce. I noticed it's really helped in a lot of ways, but there's still a little something that I felt was missing that make it a little more permanent. And I haven't tried doing it to this pan before, but I've done it on other pans. So now I'm going to combine the two. Let's take the bluing process, this iron oxide, enhance that first in the pan, and then build upon it using all the techniques, what they're saying to use here to create this oleophilic, hydrophobic coating on it that's better than any, animal fat gives the iron surface conditional hydrophobic without the PTFE, without the toxins. But one of the things they tell you and teach you in here is that no seed oils will truly produce what you're wanting to do here, that it must be animal fat. And they even go to the point they say that the highest temp smoke point animal fat out there that they've been able to find and test is beef tallow. But it needs animal fat. It doesn't have to be beef tallow. It could be pork, rendered pork fat, which I've used a combination of both. But one thing they teach and tell you in here is that it's the combination of all these foods. What's one thing that the food has, everything has in it? Water, moistures, whether it's vegetables, fruits, meat, it all has water in it. And it's a combination of taking these fats. Not only do these fruits and other things have, the fat to polymerize in it, they also have phosphorus in them. Vegetables have phosphorus in them. There's a lot of the skins and other things. They have other polymers and waxes and other things in it besides this. And the water, the moisture these have, what is water but hydrogen and 2 parts oxygen? And it's this oxygen that they're introducing it that fills in all the little spaces in between the Fe3 nanoballs and the fat molecules, and it makes it create an even layer, which makes it very slippery, very oleophilic, hydrophobic. So one thing I would suggest is go here and read. I'll leave you a link in this, but read this scientific study yourself. It's only like 3 pages. It'll take you less than 10 minutes to read it. It may take you longer to read it a couple times and understand everything they're saying in it, but understand that I've connected the two now. So a combination between the bluing and this process, which is what I'm hoping to do, is draw out these Fe3O4 nanoballs with the magnetite and combine it with all the polymerize it all together throughout the whole process, creating this one unified bluing Fe3 nanoball nonstick coating.
All right, there we are. We got it all blasted clean. It's got, I don't know if you can really see that, but I got a nice little paint finish on it now. So now I'm going to take her outside and I'm going to spritz her down with a little 50-50 vinegar, water, and warm it up as well, and then get this to a nice even rust coat on it so we can turn that into magnetite. Okay, here we are after sitting overnight for almost 14 hours. We've got a nice coat, as you see, nice coat of the hematite on it, and it's not just, look at that, this isn't any just surface coat. That is deep down and in the pores of the pan, of the iron itself. So that's gonna, this hematite's gonna convert over really nice to that black magnetite and make this, give this a really good durable bluing coat. And we'll start building the seasoning coat on top of that. All right, here we go. It's all converted over to the magnetite. It's looking good. Now, I've actually went ahead and gave this 3 quick oven treatments with beef tallow. I baked it 3 times for 1 hour at 450 just to polymerize the beef tallow on it, with about a 30-minute cool down in between each one. Anyway, this is what it looks like. Come out really nice. I actually have a digital microscope here, so let's take a look and see what our magnetite looks like close up. Now, we have to keep in mind I do have, like I said, a couple coats of beef tallow on here. Okay, so let's take a look and see what the magnetite looks like here. Oh yeah, see the blue we got going on in there? Yeah. Got some black and other stuff. Anyway, I guess this is what it looks like with the polymerized beef tallow, a couple layers of that on top. Anyway, you can see the magnetite's converted over on it. It's looking pretty good. All right, let's go to the next step and do our stovetop treatments to make it a little more non-stick. Okay, we're ready to start applying the non-stick stovetop treatment. So hopefully by this point you guys took the time to read that scientific non-stick wok study, so you understand what we're using and why. Okay, so let me start by explaining our tools and utensils here, what we're using. I'm using a couple cotton tea towels to apply it. One to apply it and one to wipe it off. Okay, now I've got water, which by the study you'll recall introduces the oxygen, so that we can mix with those and create those Fe3 nanoballs, right? Okay, so in a water solution here, I actually have a little bit of oat bark to introduce phosphorus. Okay, as they said, it was the food and the moisture in this food and all the various fats and everything they're using all in combination that created this nice oleophilic non-stick coating, right? Now these fruits contain, the fruits and the food and the vegetables, all the stuff, various things contain stuff like phosphorus, right? Which we know we use to make the bluing on this coat and that non-stick, right? So I'm going to try introducing that to the water this time. And then as far as the other things, between the foods, the fats, the some of the fruits and vegetables naturally create different waxes and keratines and stuff in it, besides polymers and what have you, not to mention worldwide, in order to preserve fruits that aren't grown locally, like bananas and other stuff, not that they're getting waxes, but most of your vegetables and fruits and stuff are treated and coated with some type of a wax to help add shelf life and preserve it to it. So all this stuff, between the waxes, the animal fats, the phosphorates, and all these things are going into this coating. These are homemade wax stick. It's 50% beeswax, 25% coconut oil, and 25% rendered pork fat. So we're still introducing the animal fat. So if you recall, I told you I put 3 oven bakes on this using beef tallow. So we're introduced our beef tallow there and our animal fat. From this point on, we're going to this to create a nice non-stick finish that's going to simulate, with using the water and the tannins and the fats and the waxes and all this, to simulate the Chinese wok food and all this stuff being stir-fried on a daily basis. Going from one dish, they dump it out and then go into a little bit of this and that and add more stuff, and this is what's going on all day. So this is what we're going to recreate. So we're going to start by getting our pan warmed up. Okay, I got the pan warming up over medium heat. While it's warming, I'm going to explain what we got going on here. We're going to dip our rag into the a water solution, we're going to melt a little bit of our beeswax on there, and then with a nice wet rag with our tannin solution and all the rest of that, we're going into the hot pan, and all this violent between the two, the smoke and the wax, the polymerization, the water, and all this infusing is what's going to create this tough glass coating like. But we want to get our pan up to good 400 degrees to start. Right now we're at 329, you see. But we want it to be right on the edge of smoking when we do this. Now, is what's going to make this a little more difficult is that with the water and the wax, the smoking, there's going to be a lot of steam going on, so it's going to be hard to distinguish, especially the camera, which is what. And this, tell you right now, this is a love-hate relationship doing this. Little fingertips burning and what have you. But if you want to get a nice non-stick coating, this is the way it's going to happen. 400, 404, good enough. Okay, start out by dipping this, get some good saturation water in there. All right. There's the smoke. I'm gonna polish, dry rag, polish that out. While it's smoking it and polymerizing it. Notice how it's got a little shinier? Alright. I'm gonna do the same, at least once or twice on the bottom here. Alright, and buff it off. Try to wipe everything you can right back off of it. We'll put it back on heat and let her polymerize all that. To help seal it in, make a tougher coat on the bottom as well. But after I get a couple coats on everything, then I'm going to solely concentrate on just repeating that in the cooking area itself. This is going to represent basically years of cooking. You know, say in the wok, over and over and over, trying to skip a bunch of years and let's go straight to the non-stick if we can. It'll continue. The more you cook, the better it's supposed to get. Flip this over. I like to keep this, it acts, when you have it right side up, that heat hits the bottom, rolls around the side, and goes over it. When you flip it upside down, kind of like a parachute, which captures and slows everything down, it's going to make the, especially on the inside, the sides get more thoroughly polymerized and cooked off. You want to try when you see that smoke kind of dissipate and stop on it, then we're going to hit with another one. All right. Oil, dip my rag. Yeah. All right, switch over to the dry one, buff that off. All right, on the back side again. Rag. And buff it off. Dry one. I'll do a couple coats on the handle, but I'm gonna do one more on the inside, and then I'll do the handle. But obviously I can't really do it over this. I have a brulee torch for doing that. I'll hit the handle, get it hot enough to polarize them on there. Alright. One more time, the inside. And this is water. Gonna wait. I'm gonna burn that off just a little bit more before one more time. Let that cook polymerize just a little bit more. I've used about that much of the stick, but if you can't tell, I just use a double egg tray to make these. Melt your stuff, mix it up, pour it in that, chill it. Now I do have to keep it chilled. It's starting to get kind of sticky. It will get rather mushy if I don't keep them chilled. Got to keep them in the fridge. But they last a long time. All right. Turning the fire off. I'm gonna let this chill. While that's chilling, I'm gonna go ahead and do the handle here. Get it heated up. Light this up. We'll talk about brulee torch. This does it. Notice that darkening or not? All right. Yeah, I'm gonna get right here. Alright, now I'll let this cool, come back down all the way down to room temperature before I do it again, and we'll repeat that same process until I'm happy with it and this looks like almost like a glass coat inside. We'll be back. Alrighty, here she is. After repeating that same process for a total of 7 treatments with about 45 minutes to maybe an hour at most cool down time in between each one. Now I end up using about half of that seasoning bar, and I used it only on the first 5 treatments. I finished with the last 2 treatments. Instead of using the bar, I used straight tallow, beef tallow, and the tannin water. Otherwise, I repeated that same process for a total of 7 times. Anyway, here we are. Look at this nice glassy coat we have in there now. Smooth as baby's butt. You wait and see how this does on fried eggs. All right, let's take a look. Turn this guy on. All right, we're gonna take a look and see what it looks like. We'll hit that same spot. Anyway, see what this looks like. Oh yeah, look at that. It worked. Looks like it worked. Got that magnetite all through it now. All right. Cool beans. Now we just want to take a test to see how it does with fried eggs. Anywho, with that magnetite, it appears that adding that little bit of the tannin water has promoted that magnetite to continue to build and grow all through the layers of the polymerized fats and waxes and everything that's on it. So yeah, this ought to be a rock solid finish. I can't wait to see how that non-stick works. One more thing, guys. I was just finishing up the editing on this first video when I came up with a great comparison ideal for the bluing. And so I figured, since I was going to cover this, let me do another pan real quick and show, not only show this comparison, but show that it's easily repeatable. So I did the same thing. The only difference here is that instead of wrought iron, I actually have a cast iron. So we got both. So you can see it does well on both. Only difference here is I only sandblasted just the cooking area and blued that part of it. So the comparison that I'm thinking about doing here, let me get a little closer, get a little more space on this, okay, is we're going to take a look at this and compare the bluing job on this using the digital microscope compared to a real, what we know is professional. We're going to use the bluing on my 380 and take a look at this under the microscope compared to this, and look at the two, what they look like. Now, of course, this one here is, I'm sure they're using a similar method, but still you're trying to achieve the magnetite and get to that bluing level. So let's look at the comparison. Of course, I expect this to be richer, fuller, because it's not just one coat. They do multiple to reach this level of bluing. So let's take a look at these. All right, let's get this clear spot. I'm going to do the gun first. Okay, here we are. Yeah, look at there. Okay, that looks pretty much, I think, what the other one was, wasn't it? Okay, that's the gun. Now let's take a look at the pan here. All right. Man, that looks just like it, don't it? Maybe ever so slightly lighter, but that looks just like it. Again, you got to realize this is just one coat, bluing coat, and then they put a coat of tallow on it, polymerized it just to seal that in. So that ain't even half of what the gun is, but boy, that looks just like it, don't it? So that shows I'm on the right path. It's working, doing what I want. The scope outlook on that looked so good I couldn't resist. I went ahead and broke out some 1/8" leather rope lattice and braided the handle. So now I'm ready. Let's go ahead and fry that egg. All right, we're going to get things warmed up here first. The perfect egg temperature range is from 275 to 300. Right in anywhere in there should be perfect for cooking eggs. Let's see what we got here. We're at 267. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a little tad of butter in now. Now I know there's a lot of people out there. I've had people, oh, look at the butter you're putting in there. A little tab of butter. Okay, I don't care what anybody says, but there's a group of people out there that truly believe non-stick means you're supposed to be able to cook in it completely dry, no fat of any kind in any way. Well,
bullshit.
it ain't gonna happen. That's all I'm gonna say. Not gonna happen. You need a little fat in there. All right, so we got. We're at 270. I'm just right about there. All right. Other people are talking about, okay, what temperature's your eggs? I do let them sit out a little bit because I like my refrigerator on the edge of freezing my milk, but not quite. And it does tend to freeze the eggs, so I let them sit out just to make sure they're not frozen. All right. Get them guys in there. One of the first things you need to let it do is just let it get a good skin, all white. You let it get a good skin on it, all white, before you try to do anything. Give her a little pinch of sea salt, smoked sea salt. Once you get a good skin going on here, then you should be able to give it a little tilt, see if it'll move around. Look at that. Smooth as a baby's butt. My family prefers theirs all nice, buttery smooth, no browning, crisping at all on it. Or they complain, yeah, it's burnt. So, like them guys over easy. If you do get a little sticking, give it a moment, make sure you know you're solid. And the trick to get them broken loose, make the OK sign. Keep your hand around your handle with the OK sign, your fingers like so, okay? Then all you simply want to do is, it's hard, I get the camera in the right position. See if I get it there. Let me have the lamp lift it up a little bit. Alright, so you give that OK sign, and you're just going to take and give yourself a little bump, just like that. See that? That's all it takes to break it loose. And spatula? We don't need no stinking spatula. There you go, buddy. Over easy. Look at that. Alright. Now, as far as cleanup, no really sticking going on. The only thing that's necessary, wipe the excess fat out. And step one is just that, wipe the fat out. And if you don't have any really sticking going on, that's all that's necessary. If you have a little sticking going on and you need to break out a little wood scraper, knock it off, go ahead and knock it off. That'd be your second step. Third step would be to bring some hot water into the situation. But last step is to bring soap in. If you need soap, you need it. But only if you need it. You don't need it to wash the fat off. Your job now, for maintenance go, is you dry as much of that fat off as absolutely possible. Then you finish by firing it back up, get her on high, and smoke that off. That's all we want to do, smoke off that new fat, that fresh fat. If for a reason you have to bring soap into it, you wash that fat off, then you need to take, doesn't matter the fat, tallow, butter, whatever, but put some type of fat on it, wipe off all the excess to it, and then polymerize it. That'll be your treatment to keep it maintained. Every time you use it, polymerize the fresh fat that you just put on it, whether it's left over from the eggs or you have to reapply it, but you need to polymerize it and give it a little fresh coat of fat each and every time you use it. You know, just gonna smoke off that excess, that's all we're doing. As soon as I know that that is all polymerized and dry on there, hang it up, let her cool. Till next time you need it. Well, I hope this helps. Good luck. Have a nice day.